Alcohol awareness. I am Carl. I'm an addict, alcoholic, among other things in my life. And my sobriety date is August 22nd, 2014. And you are...
I'm Lindsey. I'm an alcoholic and I'm a mermaid. And my sobriety date is September 6th, 2015.
And I am a merman. This is SoberPod.
Soberpod.com. Yeah, SoberPod, keep it authentic, no facades. If it's real, then you know it's ours. Welcome.
SoberPod is a podcast dedicated to the idea that one addict or alcoholic helping another is crucial to building a life in recovery. Join us this season, and probably for many seasons to come, as we read from our books, 366 Effing Days Sober, and Lindsey's book, Spirit Vigilante. And you can get both of these books. You can get the 366 Effing Days Sober, which is a book I wrote. It is a daily meditation reader, and you can get that by going to soberpod.com. And if you want to get Lindsey's book, which is really more of like a how-to book on how to remain and stay sober in this modern age. So you can go get her book at thespiritvigilante.com. And they're both very affordable. I just want to say that for the record.
They are.
So, Lindsey, we haven't talked together. You know, I just had Jack Caruso on as because I really was trying to get him on, like, even before you took your break. And it just so happened that he came on right at that break point, which is cool. Did you listen to that episode?
I did. I really enjoyed it. It was a great episode. He seems very interesting.
He seems like a very cool dude, and you know, and the fact that he didn't go through program and that he's doing it on his own, it, by the way, is very rare. So I just want to, for the people out there, for the people out there, it is very rare. But he does seem to understand the difference, right? So I think it's super cool, you know.
And he emphasized community a lot in other parts of his life. So I think he recognizes the importance of fellowship, though it might look different. Yeah.
And that's the beauty of, like, everybody's sobriety, in a sense, is that it can look very different. It doesn't have to be one specific path. And even in the traditional paths, it can still be very different. That just, like, it's so funny. I don't know. I saw some post on Facebook yesterday, day before, you know, because when you're in recovery and when you're doing the things, you get that in your feed. And then there's this woman, like, talking about AA being a cult, and I was just like, oh, Jesus. It's like, you know, I get it, and it can be very culty, but at the same rate, she was talking about it like, you know, like, we have, you know, freed ourselves from the cult. And I'm like, I never had that experience, so, like, I don't know what you're talking about. But I do understand that certain groups can be very culty, and you really have to pay attention to that stuff, because that's just a safety issue in general, right? You know, I mean, anytime you're involved in anything that looks like a cult, you should be aware of what that really shouldn't look like, right? So absolutely. And it doesn't, it actually, AA as a whole, as intended, as it does work 95% of the time, you know, outside of those cult groups, which I think are getting less and less with transparency and media and all of that. But it doesn't fit it actually doesn't fit the like requisites for a cult. There's not a leader, right? They're not telling you to isolate yourself from your family and your friends. Like, it really, I understand how people think that way. I thought that way. I thought I wasn't going to get brainwashed. I thought it was
lose my identity. Like, you know, and I was totally cult susceptible at that point in my vulnerability, right? But it's if it is a cult, I don't care.
And there's certain groups that very much are, and I think you have a really good point, though, that says, like, you know, in today's day and age, you could easily, like, look up reviews or a board or, you know, whatever, and ask about, like, certain people, or I don't know, friends on Facebook for that matter. You know, people
for
talk.
Sure.
People
for
talk,
sure.
that's for sure. And then you just, any amount of questioning will definitely help. So I thought Chad was super cool. I love the fact that he did do it on his own. I thought it was very admirable. But I just, I know for me, it was like in that 60 days, that first 60 days, it was really hard. So I don't know how well I would. I honestly, when I was talking to him, and he said, oh, it's all in your mentality, and like, it's all in how you think. And I was just like, yes and no, right? Which kind of leads us to like this topic for today, right? Which is, about like thinking about alcohol, and because I guess that's kind of the point here is like, in that first 60 days for me, like I still had alcohol in the house, I still had beer, I still had rum on the counter, and it was calling to me every day for that first 60 days. So I don't know, like, if I had any real choice in the matter sometimes, right? Like sometimes I feel like I didn't want to drink and everything, and I really made the effort to not to, but every day I got up, it was like, Lindsey, I'd have to get in the shower. I actually, from the minute my feet hit the ground, I would literally repeat, I don't know how many times, do not drink, do not drink, do not drink, do not drink, do not drink. Like,
wow.
like my brain was just like I had to just say to it over and over and over again, like, we're not doing that. Like don't drink, don't drink, don't drink. Yeah. And I got in the shower. Every time I was in the shower, all I could think, really bad. I don't even know how to explain this. That's like not normal behavior. I get it, right? But like I couldn't do it. Like I just had to say it to myself over and over and over again. And then I felt exhausted by the time I got to bed because I'm like, thank God that day's over. I don't want to have to do that again. And then I'd wake up and I'd have to do that again. It was crazy.
Just like drinking.
Yeah.
Right?
That's funny. That's so true. What about you? Like those first early days, like what was it like for you?
It's funny because I was living with my brother at the time, and everyone knew that I drank, and he's a moderate drinker and was in this wine club. And so he would get bottles of wine delivered to the house, whatever, I'm in the DMV, Carl. Come on. I'm in the suburbs.
A wine club. Anyway,
and
go on.
he only liked red wine, but with these deliveries, I think we would get a delivery either once a week or once a month. And he only liked red wine, but you had to pick one bottle of white, and he didn't like it. So when I was trying to not drink, I would drink the white wine.
Sure,
because that didn't count. No. That's when I started drinking wine, and by myself. He got me. This was one of the last final things. He got me a wine glass that said, "It's not drinking alone if the dog is home." And I was like,
"Dog is always home."
And I was like, my little brother getting me this.
Yeah.
I don't, because he lived with me. He saw what I did, and I drank at home alone all the time.
Did he? I mean, he drank though, but not like you.
He drank not like me.
Yeah,
no, no one in my family drinks like me, but they all drink, right? So the wine was still getting delivered when I got sober, and there was still alcohol in the house because I was really trying to hide it because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if I was taking a break. I didn't know because I had taken breaks before. And so I didn't want to make some grand proclamation and then not stick with it. So and then I moved in with my other brother, and he had alcohol in the house. And, I don't remember that being a super temptation, but I had to keep myself really busy and out of the house in order for it not to be, I was going to lots of meetings, doing a lot of things that didn't involve alcohol. My kind of trick, and I might have talked about this in one of the other episodes, but I would just always bring a drink where I went, or even at home. Yeah, that's what I did. The first few weeks or maybe first few months, because I was used to coming home and having a drink, I would get really special LaCroix or, those flavored drinks got really popular around that time. And so that I literally had to replace the habit with something. Like I would get a glass, put ice in it, and pour my LaCroix, and that was my relaxing drink, So I did have to kind of substitute. I'm happy to say finally I'm living on my own, and there's never been a drop of alcohol in my house, and I just love that feeling. Yeah, how about you? Because you have a pretty powerful story of when you decided to not have it in your house anymore.
Yeah, to throw it out. Yeah, that was the So I threw it out because I knew I was going to drink. I knew myself, like just you said, like I've taken breaks in the past. Well, actually, I had 3 to 5 days in like the last 2 years before I actually that time. But I had stopped in the past. I had done exactly what you did. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I even quit smoking kind of like a couple times the same way. It's like,
exactly.
It's like I go for like 2 weeks maybe, or one time I went for 7 months not smoking. I thought that was, but of course I was chewing. I was chewing tobacco or whatever, or doing Nicorette gum or whatever.
Of course.
I all the same stuff, all the same things. I would end up doing all that kind of stuff. And this last time, my wife went on a trip for her work, and I still had the 30 bottles of beer in the fridge, 30 bottles of beer.
Speaking to you, calling
exactly.
to you.
And I had half of the big boy of rum, right? And I just was like, I know I'm going to drink, and I didn't want to open them up and pour them out because I'm like, if I do that, then more than likely, if I opened one, I was going to drink it. And the only way I did this is I posted it on Reddit, Stop Drinking, and I said, I'm going to drink. And then somebody like had the bright idea of asking me, do you have alcohol now? And I'm like, yeah.
Bright idea.
Like, yeah. And he goes, well, throw it out, you stupid idiot. Like, duh, And I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, right. So I go and again, I didn't pour it out, but I put it all in the recycle bin because I didn't want to I didn't want to taint it with the trash, right? But then I brought it out to the curb, and then you hear all those bottles like chicka 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 chicka, and then and the rum too, and then and I just thought if I go back out there to get it, then I'm an alcoholic. If I go back out there to get it, then I've got a problem. And I'm like, just the ridiculousness of that alone is just like. But you know what, I doing that was probably one of the bigger actions that I did in my recovery because that was, and then after that I was told on the Reddit forum by our people, go find a fucking meeting, you fool, and because if this is like you sober just in your house, like you're not gonna this is not gonna go well
right
for you. Yeah it's like I can't think my way out of this one, right? And I can't wake up every day for the rest of my life going, don't drink.
No,
how would you survive? How would you do that?
You couldn't.
You couldn't. And
you might as well just drink.
Exactly, because I'm going to be a miserable piece of shit. So yeah, I ended up doing that, and then started going to meetings. But let's just say, I did ginger ale. I did the the specialty drinks. I did all the non-alcoholic every once in a while I just pick one thing that I think is going to be like root beer. Like I'm going to drink this kind of root beer, and I pick up a case of that, and then another case, and then do ginger ale back again, and I do
ginger beer.
I did do one of those, right? Actually. But I didn't really like it. I got a soda machine because I was like, I'm going to get into doing soda machines. You know what I mean? I got the carbonator and all this other shit. And, man, I just I became obsessive about all those non-alcoholic kind of drinks.
We love obsessing about drinks. We always have a drink in our hands.
Yeah.
We really do. And I don't think when we got sober, they might have been around, but now at least, I mean, I don't know the rules around this or if there are any, but you can go to a restaurant and get a mocktail, and that wasn't prevalent before.
Yeah, no.
So that's kind of a fun substitution. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really down with it because I'm my daughters get a Shirley Temple or whatever, and I think that's fun and good for them and everything. And they do
I love Shirley Temples. I do that too. Yeah.
I just I just think if I'm gonna do that kind of a drink, basically, I just fucking put alcohol in it. There's just no point in it for me. It's I just kind of go, why would I drink this sugary, fruity, fucking horrible tasting thing And you know, it's just there's something about it for me. It's also just like it almost feels like I'm also pretending on some level, right? Like that I'm pretending to drink. So I really don't like it. It's just, you know, it's just not my vibe. So I don't. So every time I hear mocktails or people doing this stuff, I'm like, meh. You know, like why would I pay a bunch of fucking money for just stupid liquid? You know,
I hardly ever order them actually, but I just think, I don't know if somebody's like transitioning or still can't get out of that happy hour mentality, or I don't know. I think there can be, maybe it might be a fun thing. Maybe it's different for women. Like we want a sophisticated drink in our hands. But I hardly ever, my special drink became right when I got sober and I would go out and order something. It was, and it still is to this day, a club soda with a splash of pineapple juice and a lime. And it's not too sweet and I love it.
I think ultimately the obsessing part was let me just say, after all that drinking and like, you know, finding substitutes and ginger ales and mocktails or whatever the hell it is, it's like at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, what was I doing? Most of the time I was trying to fight off like the idea of wanting a drink. And then it became like, oh, and I don't even know how long it took, like a year maybe, before I really started to like go into, you know, I think don't get me wrong, the desire or the awareness that I wanted alcohol probably left me around 6 months, maybe 6 to 8 months. I have no, like within there, like one day I woke up and I was just like, oh, yesterday I didn't think about having a drink at all. You know what I mean? Like it just happened. Coming from, like I would be talking to my sponsor and I would be standing in the grocery store, like looking down the aisle, the alcohol aisle of the grocery store. And I would go, oh my God, I was like, dude, everybody that comes in heads straight to the alcohol aisle. Like, I mean, that's exactly what it was. I mean, I was like, holy shit, the grocery store is a liquor store. And I go, I mean, that was part of my habit as well. But my sponsor was like, dude, he's like, you know what your job is? I was like, what? He's like, he goes, there are 22 other aisles in the grocery store. I want you to think about those. And I was like, oh, you're right. He's like, stop fucking looking down that aisle. There's nothing there for you. And he's like, why are you even thinking about it? Why are you watching them anyway? Right? And he's like, it's because you're fucking thinking about it. And I was like, oh, absolutely. I was 100%.
And what a metaphor for life, right? Like there's so many, now we have so many more aisles available to us. When we do avoid that one, it gives us so much freedom for the others.
Yeah, because before I could just focus down the one aisle. That's all that I could see. Like to me, like that's what existed. You know, both sides of that aisle were, you know, fucking hard liquor and beer. You know,
oh,
like,
it's nasty. Like, it's nasty to think about now. Yeah.
So there's so many other things to do and so many other things to focus on. So
do you ever find?
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, do you in present day or past that 6 months where you kind of feel that you weren't obsessing about it or craving it, does it ever pop up anymore where you're like, I want to drink, or is it more the emotional, I want to escape this feeling?
Yeah, I don't think like the good quality on the difference there, right? Because it's like there's a difference between like going, definitely, I want to escape and I'm obsessing about alcohol. Like I say, like 6 to 8 months, it just went away. Like, the real obsession, the one that says like, the one that means like when I put my feet on the ground, I go, I don't drink. That one, like that's because that's just a constant buzz in the background of your mind, right? And then that has not flipped on since about 6 to 8 months in my sobriety, but many times have I said, fuck this, I just need to get a beer, or fuck this, give me a drink because it's not worth it, right? Like my brain has literally done that to me so many times, and thank goodness I have been in positions where, like, because that's what we do in recovery. Like we build this new lifestyle around our desire to not drink anymore. And then suddenly it's like we're in a position, so when that does happen from an emotional standpoint, we're not like, you know what I mean? Like we're not suddenly going, you open the cupboard, there's all my alcohol, right? Because now we know, like, it's not there. Like, now we know we've set ourselves up to where, like, shit, now I got to get in the car. By the time I go to the grocery store, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, fuck it. And you just turn around and go home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
no, for sure.
What about you? Have you had the obsession come back like that, in that, like, don't drink kind of way?
I think it's like when you said, oh, F it, I need a beer. To me, it's what we're really saying, or what I'm really saying is, like, I can't be in my, like, body and mind right now in this emotional state that's taking over me, or like this energy. I just want to escape. Because having a drink for me, not to be morbid, I'm always morbid. So taking a sip of alcohol for me is the same thing as putting a gun to my head.
Oh, 100%. It's a game over scenario. I'm not who gives a fuck? Yeah.
I'm not just like, oh, let me try. I've been drinking a mocktail at happy hour. I want to try to drink and have just 2 with my friends, real ones, like, to fit in. It's like, no, it's dark and I'm done.
Yeah, but why is that? So, too? It's like, is it because you've done the work to understand your drinking? Like, yeah, that's why the episode's called Alcohol Awareness, right? It's because, like, you've done. You know exactly your relationship with alcohol. There is no question about it. You have sat down, you have written, you have talked to therapists, there's
no illusion.
You are like, that's what I have done every time throughout my entire life. Every time I pick up alcohol, it goes pretty much the same way, give or take.
Yeah.
A couple $1,000 and a couple nights in jail, right? It's like, give or take.
Yeah.
The general scenario is not good. Right?
Yeah. Every once in a while, I had a moment on a plane recently, and I was heading to this training, and for some reason on planes, I always look at the menu. I always look at the full menu, and I look at the drink menu for a while. Yeah. And I was thinking, like, if I just got, and this, I had this whole 15-minute, like, playing out in my mind of, if I just did want to drink again and just got like 4 mini bottles a day, had 1 in the morning, 1 with lunch, 1 with dinner,
planning it out.
and 1 at night. Oh yeah, I had this whole thing, and then I was like, well, actually, I probably would want 2 at night because I kind of like a treat at night. So I'll have half in the morning, and I'm just like, where did that even come from?
Mm-hmm. When was this?
But then,
when was it?
This was a few months ago. Yeah. But I still just, when moments like that happen, and I wasn't obsessing like, oh, I need it. It's just, I sometimes, and when things like that happen, I'm just like, oh, I'm still an alcoholic. Because normal people
the subconscious takes over, right? It's like, you just kind of go like, yeah. It's just like, I swore off, when I was 20, I said, I'm not going to lie or steal anymore. I'm just not going to do it. Right? I'm like, and it was, and I gone to program and meetings and stuff like that. But let me just say, like, when I'm an opportunistic thief. I 100%, like, Lindsey, I am a thief. As on top of an alcoholic, I am a thief. I am a 100%, like, and I get it. I love it. I love stealing. I think stealing's the best thing ever. Don't get me wrong. All right. I know people are like, Carl, like, how do you admit that? Like, I know myself. I know exactly who I am. And so, when I was 20, I would walk around like I made that commitment. Like, I'm not going to steal anymore. I would like walk around the aisle of a Target, and there would be a woman's purse wide open with like dollar bills sticking out. Yeah. And I would be like, here's the thing. Once you swear off stealing like that, like, all the opportunities present themselves, and you like see it completely, like, all the time, because it's like, and that's the thing, is like, in my daily life, even today, Lindsey, I literally, probably more than drinking now, when something happens like that, if I have a hard time. I had this boss, he would just like leave his billfold on his desk all the time and leave dollars everywhere and all this shit. I could not focus. I couldn't come in and have a meeting with him. And I was like, can you just put the money away? Because my brain literally cannot focus with the money being on the table. Because all I do is think about ways to distract him in order to steal his money. That's exactly where I go. And I just, and it's so, I get so preoccupied with that stuff. So it's kind of like, I can imagine somebody with their, I've never dealt with that, obviously. I just have practiced restraint in my ability to steal. But let me just say, I dealt with the alcoholism. I dealt with that desire. Again, like you said, getting to know myself, writing all that stuff down, understanding my obsession. And when that thought comes now to drink alcohol like it does, I do exactly what you talk about, right? Like I talk myself down. I say, play the tape forward or whatever it is that you do. I definitely understand the reality of who I am. So I just don't go there. Like I just go, you know what? Yeah. What's the point? And go for a walk, call a friend, I write in my journal. Yeah. I do cry on occasion because I'm a little bitch according to Lindsey. And then, so, but you know what I mean? Like,
Never
what do you
gonna
do?
live that down.
What do you do to when that stuff happens? Do you have you ever gone? Like I went to a serious mode at one point where I was fighting with my wife. I left the house in anger, and I went to go get a medication in the next town over because our store was closed. And I was just like the whole drive, I was so pissed, and I was like, you know what? Screw this. It was like I was under a year. And I was like, screw this. I got my first sponsee, and I was waiting for the medication, and I thought, as soon as I get this medication, I'm going to go to the liquor store across the street. I'm going to load up as much alcohol as I can. I'm going to go to the ATM across the way, and I'm going to get as much cash as I can, and I'm just going to head east. Like into the desert.
Your trailer.
To my trailer in the middle of nowhere. Once I land there, I'll get a shit job washing dishes, and maybe I'll get a trailer out back. So as I'm waiting for my medication, I get a phone call from a sponsee, and he says he wants to drink, right? And I am like, I didn't say I do too. Like I'm gonna give me 10 more minutes and I'm out of here. What happened was
you want to meet up?
yeah. You want to head east? You want to go to a trailer? What I did was I talked him out of drinking, and then of course that talked me out of drinking too. Right? It was like that thing. So again, and that happened to me. It's nothing I did, but that was that was one of those real, like, I'm gonna fuck it up moments. I'm gonna just fuck this, It's those the fuck it moments, Yeah. And not only was I angry, but I started to obsess in that anger, and then all I could do was think about, like, I envisioned myself walking, into that store, envisioned purchasing, I envisioned the whole thing. You know what I mean? And all it would have took to like end the deal was to get a bottle in my mouth, and I would have been off to the races and destroying lives in a hard way. So I'm glad that it didn't happen. But let me just say, that's the kind of stuff that, like, if it happened today, I might be angry, upset, but there's no way I'm going to be putting myself in that position today, I don't think. I mean, you never know, but you know what I mean? Like, I have lived a lifestyle and built a life that is really supportive and conducive to a life of sobriety. That's it. I just don't know how else to do that. So, so what about you? Like, did you ever get to those moments, like, where you're like hopping in the car and going to the trailer? Yeah. You ever have a fuck it moment that you ever acted on any level?
No, I mean, because now when I hit those moments and throughout my sobriety, it was more just like, I don't want to be here anymore, Every once in a while, I think a drink would be nice, but now it's more, I was telling you how I took a bunch of beach trips in a row, and there were alcohol at all of those houses. One was a big family trip, Outer Banks. In the middle of the night, I was on the same floor as like the second fridge that had tons of alcohol. And then my girls' trip that I just took, there's alcohol in the house, and I stayed a couple days longer, so I was home alone. And I was thinking, like, it's more for me thinking, God, it would be so easy, kind of the stealing thing with the purse. For me, it's like the purse is sitting there. No one would know. Like,
nobody's going to know. Nobody's gonna know.
How would they know? So for me,
how would they know?
I'm like, but for me, it's more of, it's this weird sabotage thing that happens when things are really good, where I'm like, I could just burn this whole thing down in one night and ruin it all.
So it's no longer about obsession, right? It's like, it's about, you want to fix, you want to, you want to change whatever the situation is. And most of the time it's like, the tools that we learn in recovery is this too shall pass. Or,
for sure.
Drinking is not going to make this any better. We hear stuff like this all the time.
Yes.
And
there's nothing that a drink will make better. Yeah.
Yeah. And all of my issues were always around, my relationships, right? So as it related to my wife, like a lot of the times I would lose my shit. We'd get into an argument. And then, of course, I want to go drink. That's just how that would work. And I remember after a year, we were arguing. My wife was like ridiculing me on some level in front of the kids or something. And I stormed out. We were like on a short mini vacation, and I stormed out and I just sat on this bench, and I was just like, I was at the beach, and I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm going to, like, I was thinking I was going to go to the store too. I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to go get a drink. And I was like, what am I thinking? Like, that's so stupid, right? And then I go, you know what? Like, I'm going to go back there, and I'm going to, like, state my experience. I'm going to, tell her what I really think. Like, I can't, we can't be doing this anymore. And then I'm going to do this absolutely sober because I fucking deserve it. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, like,
wow.
I was like, and then with that mindset, I went back to our little site and I just told her, hey, like, you're ridiculing me. This isn't right. This is not how we're supposed to argue. And da-da-da-da. And I was just like, matter of fact. And of course, it was just like, I just went with that headstrong attitude of, and I'm not going to walk away or run away from this situation and go drink. Because you know what? It's like it doesn't deserve that. Right. And I deserve better, period. And that, dude, from that moment on, I was like,
wow.
I talked about it in the last podcast with Chad. It's like, that's when I burned the boats. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm never going
analogy.
back.
Yeah.
I am now here in this new land, and I'm going to make do without alcohol and drugs, period. And I'm not trying not to steal as much as possible. So, Lindsey, when do you think you turn the road? Like, when do you think you turn the road?
Of not wanting it anymore?
Yeah.
Or not obsessing about it?
Yeah.
I can't even time that. I don't know. I know it doesn't happen anymore. It might have been a slower progression for me, but I don't think I was obsessing to the extent that you were, if that makes sense. So I wasn't taking the shower, like, don't drink. So, and I had taken breaks before, and I know you have too, but I had gone like 30 days without it. So like, I had tricks, not tools, but like tricks that I could kind of play on myself, or like do the LaCroix. Yeah.
Look here.
Yeah. Pretty much like that, like training a kid or something and doing some kind of replacement with the, dessert.
That's very valid. That is very valid. That's I did like early on, I remember doing like little hobbies and little things to keep myself busy and stuff like that too. Yeah. So I think it's very valid.
Yeah.
Like, but there is so I do want to point out, and I always try, and I talk about this in my book in a couple areas, which is like, there's these tendencies that we have when we get sober, that we tend to lean into certain things. Like I was the obsessive. So as soon as I went into another mode, I was like, I obsessed all about recovery. I like listened to podcasts. I did all the work. I got into mental health, and which is great and it's fine and it's good and it's dandy. But the balance is still not there in our lives, right? So and then there's the people that like focus on money. They're like, I'm gonna go get into work and I'm gonna do all that shit, and they do. And then there's the ones that focus on health, right? They're gonna go and they're gonna be like, they're juicing and they're lifting and they're working out and then they're doing whatever. And then and like. I mean, as it goes on and on and on, like there is like, so it really is about like trying to gain the balance as it relates to our lives. So, but let me just say, it's okay that pendulum goes that way, I think, right?
For sure.
I think it's quite all right that the pendulum, people obsess about AA, they get all into it and then they do all that stuff. And it's great and it's wonderful. And that pendulum is good, and the brainwashing needs to happen on a lot of levels for a lot of people.
Exactly.
I just think that it's like, we all go through these like phases in our recovery, and it's all okay at the very baseline. And that's why you hear a lot. It's like, I'm a winner if I just don't drink today. Like, I have won the day, right? I that's all there is to it. Yeah, yeah. A big part of what our lives consist of is like the absence of alcohol and drugs. Period. Right? Like but the minute I do that, it's a whole game over scenario, which is what you said. It's like, know exactly. Yeah.
Because for us, the implications of alcohol means something so different to other people. So with the absence of alcohol being such a part of our lives, that means theoretically, if we're taking the right actions, the absence of self-loathing, the absence of isolation, the absence of, so it just convolutes so much when we're in active addiction and alcoholism, that the absence of that just has such profound benefits, right?
Right. Yeah. So this kind of, I have a reading that corresponds kind of to what we're talking about.
Yeah, I love that.
It's for it's coming up. It's July 20th in a couple days. Actually, this will probably come out exactly on that date, which I think it'll be kind of cool. But we didn't start here. But the fact is like this definitely relates. So maybe it's something that we can talk a little bit about, and then we can wrap it up. Okay, it's July 20th. Are you ready?
Yep.
Up until this point, you have managed well. You may have been able to keep a job, buy a home, raise a few kids, care for a few dogs, and maybe even save a little money for retirement. But what happens when you no longer manage well? What happens when you get sick or need to be hospitalized? What do you do then? I can tell you what I did. First, I had to commit, and then I had to submit. I learned this through the process of recovery. When I had a medical issue a few years ago that I was powerless over, again, I immediately recognized what I needed to do. I entered the process by beginning to diagnose and identify the problem. Sound familiar? Then accepting the options provided by professionals, people with experience. I submitted to powers more significant than myself to receive the medical help I desperately needed. So reflections. Are you ready to commit and submit? Daily challenge. Have you read any good books lately? Find a new book you want to read and buy it. Again, soberpod.com or spiritvigilante.com.
We have two recommendations on an unrelated note.
Totally unrelated. Just happened to be there in that way. So, and I didn't change the daily challenge. That was there originally. Okay, so what do you think? And this is kind of the idea of burning the boats, right? This is the idea of like trusting professionals and trusting the people that have been there before us in order to like do this.
Yeah, and once upon a time, I would have loved to have done it myself and to be able to say I did it myself, and then I figured this out alone. And now looking back, I think, thank God I didn't do it myself, because I meet with wise women 3 times a week and learn so much from them, and beyond the rooms of recovery. I'm so honored to not have done it alone, and now as a leader
me too.
in my own practice, I think one of the strongest ways I can lead is by showing I haven't done it alone, and so that it's just so interesting how that changed, because I would have done anything to have been able to do it myself on day one. Anything.
Me too 100%. I totally get that, because But I also heard it early on. Thank goodness I heard it early on, which is any fool can learn from their own mistakes, but it's a wise person who chooses to learn from others. And that's where I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. Because,
and that's why I just had to throw out all of my ideas.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, because if I could have done it up to that point, I would have already, right? I totally would, because I'm not a stupid dude. I didn't think I was stupid, but the fact is, you just don't know what you don't know,
Yeah.
All right, Lindsey. So what would you tell these kind, wonderful, enjoyable creatures that are considering burning their own boats?
I would say for that, and I had to use a lot of discernment in early sobriety of playing with fire and my real motives for things. So I could easily say, if you have the luxury, not everyone, I do want to name that not everyone might have the luxury of getting rid of the alcohol that's in their house. So there's certainly people you can talk to who have dealt with that before, again. But if you can avoid situations where you're not even put in the position to have to make that decision, I think using discernment and erring on the side of caution. I missed a few things, I missed a few concerts early on. I missed a few parties. Now I miss those by choice, very, very willingly. It's hard to get me to
It's really
a party
not
now.
that fun to stand there and
right.
Wave off the dope all the time.
Which is why I drank so much, because I wasn't having fun most of the time at those places, but I thought I had to be there. So, I didn't know that's what I was doing. But yeah, I'd say don't play with fire. I mean, make it easy for yourself. Skip it. Skip the drink today. Skip the event today. That could put you in a situation where you have to make that decision.
Yeah, I'd say my personal take is, put yourself in a position where, you're not the smartest person in the room. That would help. Or that maybe you have the least experience in that, whatever topic it is that you need to learn. And then and give it a year, right? Like really try doing all the things for a year. And if that means throwing away, whatever, $50 worth of alcohol, throw it away, right? And again, putting yourself in a position where you can learn from others is probably the best bet that I ever did. That was probably one of the greatest decisions I made that had the greatest impact, right? Like it was just, it was after that, it was absolutely, I just started following the path. I started crossing the minefield, and people told me where the mines were, and I didn't need to do anything else but put one foot in front of the other, and then it started to happen, I think that's about it for me. I mean, I don't know anything.
Well, just when you said do it 1 year, it kind of reminded me of how I always say, just do the experiment, like run the experiment. And you can't collect enough data in a week to figure out how you want to live the rest of your life.
Or 3 to 5 days, because I tried that too.
Or 3 to 5 days, or in my opinion, 30 days. So
or 60
let's
90.
Just collect. A good scientist would collect more data to make sure that those, variables and instruments are valid and reliable. So give yourself as much data as you need. And one of the wisest things I heard in month 1 was, I'd rather live my life sober, believing I'm an alcoholic, than live my life drunk, trying to convince myself that I'm not. Because that's a lot of work.
Yeah, and as far as collecting data, I mean, this is probably like this is you. This is your life. This is
you're the sample. You're the This
is everything right here. Like, based on this, it's like, man, absolutely give yourself the time. And, yes, we all need money for research. But the fact is, it's like, I think you'll do it better when you're sober. I think you'll understand it better when you're sober.
Yeah.
And even if you're miserable, continue to do it, right? Yeah, it's like.
Give your soul a chance, even if your brain hasn't processed it yet. Give your soul give your future self a chance, right?
And if And if you just took your bottle and threw it across the car, based off that statement alone, oh, good for you, right? Maybe come back next week and we'll try again, right? But yeah, no, I totally get it.
Yeah,
like, yeah, but that's just how it happens. Like, it's like if it's like we don't shoot our wounded in recovery. It's just not how that works, and we're not going to villainize anybody for drinking or making that decision. But the fact is, this is like, we wouldn't be sitting here saying this if it wasn't true for us, if it wasn't the reality for us. Like, there's no skin in this game. Like, we're not making bank here or anything. You know what I mean? Like,
and nothing happens to us if you stay sober or not. We can't get anyone sober, and we can't get anyone drunk. Yeah. So Mike in Nova Scotia, we hope that we're helping you and giving you another moment of reprieve if you're in sobriety. But we don't, like you said, we have no skin in the game. What?
And Mike, I am not going to judge you if you just make it to the titty bar and not drink, okay? I'm okay with that too. So just make it there, see a couple titties, and then come home.
As long as you don't get into the club the same way Carl gets into clubs. And then
don't be showing your hooey.
His currency.
But I'm not going to judge Mike in Nova Scotia for just wanting to see a few things now and then. That's his deal.
No, that's a different program.
All right, Lindsey, I think we're digressing. So
we are.
So what do you say to the kind, wonderful, beautiful people out there in 3 words or less?
Trust your truth.
And I get an extra word. So stay active.
You get an extra
stay
word.
sober. See ya.
See ya.
Soberpod.com. Yeah. It was a sight to see them. Breakfast with Sprite and Seagrams. Wrestling with my vices, exercising my demons. My blessings were blocked, so I never got the message. I'm stressing, I'm only 12 steps from an exit. Regret it, because my imperfections were perfected. I ain't run from it, I accept it and rep it. It's a badge to me, good stories come from a tragedy. And when you survive, the glory will come in Act 3. The wait's over, 366 days sober. Morning affirmations that can start the day for you. Use my favorite bookmark for a placeholder. Finish when the day's over. Okay. Yeah, sober pod, keep it authentic, no facades. If it's real, then you know it's ours. Welcome.